In this episode of OG 55, we are talking about the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary. Yesterday, there was a sizable amount of stuff that was announced for the Disneyland Resort. Pretty exciting stuff. We're going to discuss it right now. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. I brought my producer, my good friend, my collaborator, Vaskai, host of the Freshly Squeezed show here on the channel. Dre, welcome back, sir.
Hey, good to be back. Happy to be back. Talking about Disneyland 100th. Well, it's not really Disneyland's 100th, but it's the 100th anniversary celebrated at Disneyland, which is really, really cool. I do appreciate you having me back on, sir. And if anybody would like to follow at home, you can go ahead and do so right down there at Vashsky. Just go ahead and type that in, just how it's spelled down there, and should pop up on the Twitters for what is it? As Christine Waysteins McCarthy would say, for all the
robust
discussion.
And there's the biggest bargain of all.
There we go.
I love it. I love it. And if you want to follow me, or see me, you can go ahead and do so with the channel you're watching right now at Orange Grove 55 at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove. We're also expanding out to other platforms that you can also find us on. And man, I think we should just roll right into this story, man. I think this is some awesome stuff.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and bring up that article. We'll use that article from, I believe it's Mice Chat.
Yes.
We'll bring that one up and we'll kind of use that as a jumping off point because this is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. Good, sir. Let me go ahead and share my screen right here. I did that before, but so exciting. Okay, so, well, the 100th anniversary kicks off. The 100 Years of Wonder celebration starts January 27th at the Disneyland Resort. And get those party hats ready because the Disney 100 Years of Wonder celebration debuts at the Disneyland Resort. And it's just been announced. January 27, 2023, guests will experience the 100th birthday of the Walt Disney Company. We'll go over that. But I think the thing that everybody's talking about is the celebratory bunting that Disneyland is going to receive. But there's also some other features embedded in this art that I think people should take note of as well. So they say Sleeping Beauty Castle gets an extra special makeover with blue and iridescent platinum as the color scheme. The final magical touch is Sleeping Beauty's 3 good fairies floating high above the castle. So what do you think?
Okay, here's my thoughts on this. I have been a big proponent of this kind of mindset when it comes to entertainment and overlays. Simplicity is king. Simplicity is king. Simplicity is king. If you look at everything, pretty much everything that's successful when it comes to entertainment at these parks, it's very simple concepts. Not a whole lot going on. If you look at the snow on Main Street during the holidays, it's just a soap machine with music. That's all that is. Wildly successful. If you look at Small World Holiday, the facade, all it is Christmas lights, a stapled gun to the facade. Again, a very simple concept. And if you look at disasters or things that didn't work out so much, they're usually over complex, over complicated, like Harmonious and those monstrosities of the barges and the metal arms, and it's too complex, right? So my point is simplicity rules the day. I like this. And I know a lot of fans might not be too happy with it. It's not enough decor. I think it's perfect. Look, the castle is absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't need a bunch of garb all over it to make it prettier, to make it nicer. All you really need are some accents. Like you said, some bunting, maybe a little sign like they got here, 100 years. Nice little touches to accent an already gorgeous building. I think this is the right way to do it. This is what they should have been doing all along when it comes to these overlays. If you look at the the Disneyland. As much as I love Disneyland's 50th anniversary, the castle was very gaudy. It was like the Liberace castle, you know. It was just
man,
you know, it was all over the place with the gold and the diamonds and this, that, and the other. And
I'll bring it up right now here.
It was Go ahead and bring it up. I mean, way too much going on in my opinion. There we go. Way too much going on with this. Way too much. So I think simplicity is king. I think this 100 years of the Walt Disney Company overlay for the castle is chef's kiss. I really like it. But Dre, what are your thoughts on the way they're handling that overlay for the castle?
Well, some people's thoughts, like imagination here. I'll just give them a shout out. Better castle for Disneyland's 50th and Disneyland's 100th. I mean, look, I dug Disneyland's 50th castle. I actually did. The color scheme underneath, I don't think it didn't hold up, I think, as well as people kind of maybe envisioned, because it was on there for a long time. Yeah. But the new color scheme I actually am quite fond of. And this accentuates it for sure, which I think was the right direction. And one could point to they just wanted to be cheap with it. No, I think they're very proud of this castle, and even if they are going maybe a little bit fiscally responsible, let's say, with celebrating the 100th anniversary, in represented in this overlay for the castle, I do say it's probably appropriate that they do that. You know, we saw the the Epcot Millennium Celebration with the big wand and everything over Spaceship Earth, which was like ridiculous. I think the debut of the hat came around that time as well for Disney's. At that time, I think it was still Disney's MGM Studios. They're not doing anything like that, I think, which is good. Castle doesn't need that. Do I feel that they could have gone a little bit more? Yeah, but with this kind of color scheme, yeah, it's probably appropriate. It looks like, there are little details too, like the flags and stuff like that they've kind of changed the colors on. I think that's gonna be that might be kind of cool. It looks like a very royal kind of purple and stuff. It is kind of interesting how they're doing the kind of what is it, pink and blue kind of bunting with the the fairy god. What is it? Not the fairy godmother, but the fairies from Sleeping Beauty. Yeah. That's kind of cool. The star right here, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's really the only physical thing that really prominently stands out here. And it's the one thing that they include in both concept renderings, and we'll go over them. But for the fireworks and the star is actually kept intact. So that might be making maybe a bigger appearance during the actual fireworks spectacular itself that we're also getting, which we'll get into. But I think the thing that a lot of people are talking about as well are these two side fountains right here. Well, now, what do you think about that, OG? I mean, it has been... Look, we have seen fountains integrated in some of these castle designs. Yeah. Hong Kong being the most recent one, but that's like... that fountain integration is something else. It's very different from this. Essentially, it's kind of a row of fountains right in front of the castle, which is quite interesting. And then you have Disneyland Paris, as we all know, and it's kind of it's moat. They put some fountains in there, which are more like color fountains. That we have seen integrated in other places before. That's a kind of interesting implementation as well. What do you think about these specifically, however?
I think for our castle, we have a small castle. We just do. It's a very charming, smaller castle, as Disney park castles go. So I think that it's a smart idea to sort of have the fountains in the moat kind of reflect the charm of the castle. And obviously there's space restrictions that are going to prevent like anything too crazy. But I think you want to, I think they're doing the right thing here. You want to match. You don't want these fountains to like dominate. You want them to sort of complement the structure. And I think that's what these do perfectly. So I'm sure during like the fireworks show and what have you, these fountains will go up and maybe down and up and down, and there'll be LED lights and they'll change colors. And it's really elegant and pretty. Is it as grand and crazy as like what Paris has? No, it's not. But they have a different castle. They have a much bigger castle. So it kind of requires a different kind of approach. I think for Disneyland, I think this is really kind of the way to go. Now, it is interesting too. I really want to get your opinion on this, Trey, because I think there might be something here with this.
Sure.
Do you think, because the castle was recently beautified. They fixed all the rooftops and they repainted everything. There was a real effort to sort of fortify those rooftops. Kim Irvine talked about it at length, during that whole process. Mm-hmm. We on this channel have talked a lot about how the overlays have caused a lot of damage in the past to these rooftops and to the structure. Do you think that this kind of more minimalist approach, Disney is more cognizant of that? They don't want an expensive fix down the road, so they're trying to add elements like the star and bunting, very simple elements that won't risk damaging the structure going forward. Are they being more aware, or is it more like what you were saying, kind of this more like fiscally saving money thing, or is it both? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a little bit of both. I think the company is more cognizant of like, okay, well, if we destroy an icon, that's not great. But at the same time, it's an expensive process, and even if you don't end up destroying the icon, it's an expensive process to not only fabricate but take down, put up, that kind of thing. We saw Walt Disney World's 50th recently, and it still has its 50th anniversary castle decor on it. Interesting. You're gonna have overlapping. you're gonna have some slight overlap in the 50th for Walt Disney World and the 100th for Disney not Disneyland, but the company's 100th anniversary, which is that's an interesting juxtaposition there. I think our buddy Disney Glimpses was saying that Walt Disney World might have some anniversary fatigue. Yeah, I could see that, but you could see how they did their castle overlay, and it seemed a little bit more cognizant of, okay, if we're going to put like these structures, let's not have them make like contacts throughout, like the turrets and stuff like that. Let's have a little space in between that, so that we don't actually destroy the structure. It seems like they're a little bit more mindful of that with these overlays going forward. But also too, I do think it's a little bit more a little bit more fiscally conservative, let's say, just overall. Because here's the thing, that's the other thing you have to pay for if you do an outrageous overlay, is you have to pay for or undercut the cost of actually rehabbing or refurbishing these things, and I think that's another cost that they want to avoid. That also brings me to why these fountains might be as small as they are. I think they're also looking at things like overspray from these fountains, right? Yeah. They don't want to degrade the structures around them as well. So It's all kind of thoughtful design, which obviously isn't the most impressive, but like you said, OG, if we can prevent any of these structures from being destroyed, I think people will take that, even though they might not think in the moment.
Yeah, and if you look at like celebrations of the past, like if you ever watched like the old footage of Disneyland celebrating its 10th anniversary, it never, Walt Disney never got into like garbing up the castle. It's just, it was the castle was already beautiful. Let it shine in its in its natural beauty, so to speak, and I'm kind of one of that mindset. Now, I don't mind like some bunting here and there, but yeah, I'm not really big on like a huge amount being added to these structures. So I'm actually, even if it was totally just for saving a buck, I'm still on board with it. I mean, sometimes, hey, look, sometimes saving money, sometimes it works out, in terms of like the product. Like I've said, like the minimalist thing is more my style when it comes to entertainment. So if it saves Disney money and it actually looks better, which I think it does, then I'm all good with it. But yeah, I can understand though. Some fans are not like super thrilled. Some fans like that more of that 50th style, just like, really, really pops. It's in your face, kind of, just not my thing, I guess. But everyone has their own style.
Even with the 50th, the 50th, what is it, overlay? If we compare just for a little bit, it did emphasize the castle and did show off the castle still. It was gilded, maybe Liberace style, but it still emphasized that castle. Now compare this to like Walt Disney World's 25th anniversary with the birthday cake castle, right? Now that was horrific. I think everybody agrees that it was horrific. And yeah, they've done some funny nods to it in the past, even sold merch on it and all this kind of stuff. Nobody wants it back, right? And nobody wants to live with it as long as they end up living with it. And that was John Hench. Sometimes you strike out. In that case, it was with the 25th anniversary birthday castle. And so ever since then, the company has been kind of like, okay, if we do these castle overlays, let's not go overboard with it. And so they've kind of simplified since then. And even with like the 25th anniversary Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom castle, the when they repainted back, because they did actually paint a lot of that Pepto-Bismol pink. When they repainted back, it never quite looked right, at least to me. Like it didn't have that, I don't know, that original color tone. It was always different in my eyes. We'll see what happens after this next repaint with the castle as it goes back from its 50th anniversary colors to how it should look normally. But people have also complained about the 50th anniversary, colors and so forth and the repaint and all that. I think they want to avoid that entirely. Go simple. It's cheaper anyway. And let's just move on here. Yeah. I think that's most appropriate. And again, it's not Disneyland's 100th. It's the company's 100th. And so, yeah, I get it.
And a lot of it's kind of funny. A lot of Florida fans are not happy with this 100th anniversary. I got a bucket here of all the tears that we've been collecting over the past 24 hours. I'm just kidding. No, but in all seriousness, because you did mention it is the 100th of the company, but it does seem like Disney is really focused on Disneyland Resort being kind of like the epicenter of it. And in my opinion, I think it makes total sense for a couple of reasons. Number one, Disney World is coming off of their 50th. They're not even done with their 50th yet. The 50th at Walt Disney World doesn't even end until spring of 2023. So you're going to have overlapping celebrations in Florida, right? So it kind of confuses things and kind of muddies the waters quite a bit over there for that until the 50th is gone. That's number one. But number two, look, I know Walt Disney World's the biggest resort, but Disney as a company is so much more than just the theme parks and so much more than just Walt Disney World. And the reality of the situation is the Walt Disney Company, I think even DeSantis said it, is a California-based company. I mean, so you're going to have, I think it makes sense to have the bulk of it here in California, where California is the birthplace, so to speak, of the Walt Disney Company. It just kind of makes sense. I think on that level alone, this is where these massive milestones, from the formation of the studio and Snow White and Disneyland and all, even the planning of the Florida project was all occurring here in California. So I think that is it's a proper approach to sort of have Disneyland Resort in the theme park sphere to be sort of the focus, in my opinion. But what do you think, Dre, on this in terms of the focus? Should it be more evenly kind of between all the resorts worldwide, or is Disney making the right move, having it kind of California centric? What are your thoughts on that? Because it's been a talk of the town in the community for the past day or so.
Well, I think like instinctively, it's like if you want to have every single product maybe that the company is in, all the different divisions that it has represented, or representing the 100th anniversary, I kind of instinctively think, and at least in my mind, okay, Disney parks, that's kind of Walt Disney World. I mean, that's your flagship resort, right? But I think it's also going, it's going through its 50th right now. There's going to be some overlap there. Not only that, but I think they want a little bit of a historical edge with this whole 100th anniversary. We see that reflected in the various shows that they're going to have, especially Wondrous Journey, where it's going to be the 100 years of Disney animation. If you want a historical edge with your Disney parks celebratory festivities, I think Disneyland makes sense. But what about this? OG, you're showing it on the screen right now. This is from at Theme Park Lore, and he says this: I understand why Disneyland Park is in the California resort's go-to quote celebration park, but if there's one promotion that really could have made use of California Adventure, it's Disney 100. Buena Vista Street is literally set at Walt's arrival in LA in 1923. What do you think about that? I do think that may have been a missed opportunity a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't really know yet because it hasn't kicked. I mean, the 100th hasn't kicked off yet, so there might be some announcements for Buena Vista Street before now, and when it kicks off at the end of January, it's possible. Maybe. But I think Park Lore, who is a great follow, by the way, he does amazing stuff. But I think he's absolutely spot on, and it kind of touches upon what I just mentioned: why it's a California-centric kind of celebration. Why the Disneyland Resort is the epicenter is because, he points out here that the company was founded in California in 1923. The Walt's whole story is coming to California with like $40 in his pocket. And look, nothing conveys that better than Buena Vista Street. So I think they should do something on Buena Vista Street. Absolutely. Have some sort of special, I don't know what you can do. Maybe special bunting, maybe have some sort of special limited time stuff only on Buena Vista Street relating to the 100th. I think that would be a phenomenal idea. I would absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Are you on board with this? Having kind of Buena Vista Street sort of be the main hub, so to speak, of that celebration here in California?
I can see why, from a branding standpoint, why they would want to make it the hub, like Disneyland, the hub for that. But I am very much in agreement with doing something at Buena Vista Street because it's directly connected with the company's history. 1923 right there. You don't have to necessarily make it the hub, I don't think, because celebrate the 100th at Disney California Adventure doesn't quite have the same ring to it as celebrate the 100th at Disneyland. I get it, I understand, but there should be some kind of celebratory festivities over there. Imagine this. I know they can't do fireworks, but imagine like a little 5 minutes projection show on Carthay Circle. Ooh. They do use projections for Oogie Boogie Bash, right? And you could do like what occurred with Enchantment, with that kind of retrospective look at Walt Disney World's creation, right? You could do that a little bit with the company's creation, even some stuff with the Snow White premiere that took place in there and how that led to the formation of Disneyland right there, a little bit, and you can have the lights on the trees around you, maybe even light up the partner statue at certain points in that show. Man. I think that might be pretty cool, and you could do it every 15 minutes. I think that'd be awesome. There's stuff you can do if you want to do it.
Dude, that's not just awesome. That is freaking brilliant. And I couldn't even imagine having some old footage of Walt and the 9 Old Men and, old footage from them, making Snow White, and even have footage of Snow White projected onto Carthay. What an homage, man. What an homage. What a brilliant way. God, Disney, if you're watching, Daddy Josh, if you're watching, please make that happen. Please make that happen. I mean, that is really a fantastic idea, Vash, which I never even considered. And you're right. The Carthay is a perfect canvas for that. It's just perfect. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I love it. Now we might not be getting that. Please, Daddy Josh, you can have that one for free. I'll write it off right now. You have it. You're good. You claim credit for it. I won't even credit it. OG will just sneakily delete this video later and be like, oh, look at this. This is amazing. That way we can leave them of liability. But
I'll clip it out, Daddy Josh. I'll clip it out. They'll never know that we suggested. I'll clip it out. Just say the word, but please do that. Please do that.
It would be cool. It would be cool. We are getting something, though, and it's Wondrous Journey. Yep. I guess this is going to go over the 100 years of Disney animation, which is, I mean, it's, what is it? Animation integrated show. We've seen them before. 100 years, though. That's pretty cool. Hopefully we get something else than, I Want to Be Like You or Under the Sea and some of the other staples that we've seen in so many of these shows. Come on, can we stretch it out a little bit? Can we get something a little bit different? Hopefully we can. It looks like we might, so that is actually really exciting. And this is some good stuff here. They're also emphasizing too pyrotechnics on select nights. So,
you know what I would absolutely love though. I mean, and this is kind of getting into like the nerd realm a little bit. But sometimes Disney surprises us. Sometimes they do. Mm-hmm. Howard Ashman, even though he was a music guy, was vital. Was really like probably one of the main reasons why that Renaissance era was as successful as it was. I mean, Howard Ashman is an absolute Disney legend, an absolute Disney legend. I know they kind of throw Disney legend around now like nothing with these awards, but no, Howard Ashman was a legitimate bona fide Disney legend, every sense of that word. I would love to see an homage to Howard to some degree and his music and how it kind of related to these films, Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. I mean, come on, the Disney company wouldn't be what it is today without that Renaissance era. And Howard Ashman was really a vital part in that whole creation. I want to see stuff like that integrated into the show. And not just Howard. I mean, you have the Sherman Brothers in there, 9 Old Men, but interweave these figures, these legends in with the animated films that they took part in that help creating would be phenomenal. Now, it might be a little wonky, though, for the general public. I don't know if they're going to eat that up. Most likely, it'll just be a clip show of the various movies. And they'll probably start at Steamboat Willie and they'll end with Encanto or something, and they'll go through the whole history. But man, would I love them to integrate some of that old footage of the 9 Old Men, Ward Kimball and Howard Ashman and Alan Menken and just all the people that really helped form this studio. Would love it, but I don't know, probably won't happen.
It would be awesome, but it just doesn't seem like they're going that direction. It's so frustrating because it's like they had a big win, I think, with that that intro or prologue, or I don't know what you want to call it, for Disney Enchantment. With the Walt and Roy integration right there, got a huge response from the crowd. Do more of that. Lean into your history. You are the only studio in town that has it, right? Yeah. I mean, really play it up, and ingratiate a new generation of fans by leveraging your history. It works, trust me. Happened with me. I wouldn't be doing this right now had the 50th not done that in some big ways. So I don't know. Just some thoughts. We also do see the star represented there. They also released concept art for World of Color 1, it looks like, which is, again, a little strange. I guess they, World of Color 100 is a little bit too much, so they went with World of Color 1. I don't know. They might as well have just gone with World of Color Plus, if you ask me. But if you're gonna do the weird branding, but and it looks like you can see the characters featured right here: Coco, Mulan, Soul, Moana, Encanto. It seems like it's gonna be from the Renaissance on, that kind of thing. Could be cool, but again, I like your idea, OG. With the length at which World of Color performances can actually take on, it's a little bit, a lot to ask for a pyrotechnics fireworks show to do it. But for World of Color, people stand around for 28 minutes to watch this thing. You could have really done like a historical retrospective in the way that you described. Go with the Sherman Brothers, Howard Ashman, of course, 9 Old Men, stuff like that. You could do it here. I know, man. Come on, you cowards. Let's do it. Let's really lean into the history here. But it looks like they're going this way. We see what looks like maybe a a different kind of effect in the center now that I'm looking at right now. That's interesting. I wouldn't glean too much from that, but hey, maybe we do get new effects embedded in. The platform itself needs a little bit of work. Will it get that work before this? Likely not, but it's going to be interesting to see. Also, too, I'd like for Wondrous Journeys over back at Disneyland. I'd like for that show because they are saying that they're going to have that show on nights even without fireworks. I'd like it to replace Mickey's Mixed Magic as the go-to show in the event that winds cancel fireworks. In the off season for years to come, I'd like for Wondrous Journey to be that Mickey's Mixed Magic replacement because I dislike that show. I'm just speaking.
Most people do.
Subjective.
Most people don't like that show. I thought it was really cute for Mickey's 98th. It was a fun little kind of party vibe for kids. Really cute concept, and some of the remixes are not bad. But it's overstayed its welcome. Yeah, I think it's going on like 4 years now. I think it premiered in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It just overstayed its welcome. It's perfect for Mickey's birthday, perfect for like a summertime show for that one summer. But come on, it's enough already, So yeah, I'm with you on that one, Dre. Now, speaking of Mickey, though,
we got some
Mickey. We got some Mickey.
The Disney Parks TikTok released this video. I'll go ahead and play that for you right now without the audio. But they released this video going into giving you a kind of a look into Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland. With the opening date announced, they're going to open this thing on January 27th, along with this 100th anniversary, which is fantastic. However, Toontown will not be open, which I think we were having a conversation about something, OG, and I think I said something like, "Wow, it'd be like opening up Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway without Mickey's Toontown with it," and sure enough, that's exactly what they're doing, which is quite an interesting play.
Yeah.
OG, what your initial thoughts on that? Why do you think they're doing that?
It's fascinating. I mean, here's the thing. In terms of like opening the ride before the land, if you're going to do anything in phases, that's the way to do it. We saw how working in reverse at Galaxy's Edge didn't work out as well. When you open up the land and then you don't have the big ride ready.
Sure.
That lends itself to more complaints, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's the ride that everyone is really looking forward to. So I don't think people like the normies, the general public, will really have an issue with some construction walls walking in and getting to ride this, right? I think it's fine. The timing though, like I was kind of like, I immediately called you when I saw this news. I mean, I was kind of blown away by how quick this is coming out. I mean, January. Yes. It's crazy. I do think, number one, I think it's definitely a marketing strategy for the Disney 100th. That's premiering, I think, on the same day. Is definitely that. Some people are saying that it's a competition move because, from what we understand, Super Nintendo World at Universal Hollywood opens, I believe, around January or February. So Disney wants to kind of get out in front of that, which is interesting, and it's possible. My only issue with that, though, is Disney doesn't really seem to react to Universal. I mean, look at what we see in Florida. They have no intention of responding to Epic Universe right when it opens. I mean, they would have to start on that stuff now. I just feel it's a little bit strange that like this Nintendo World, which only has one ride in it, compared to the other Nintendo Worlds in Florida and Japan, that's the thing that kind of lit a fire under Disney's ass. To be like, oh, we got to respond, So I don't know how much that really plays into this, to be honest, but it might have there might be some legitimacy to it though, but I think there's more than likely, I think it's just to really kick this 100th anniversary off. It's a big marketing push for the next 18 months. And I think they really want to get the headlines. And that's kind of what the main reason is. The competition factor with Universal is probably an element of that. But I don't know how big it really plays into it. But what do you think, Dre? What are your feelings and thoughts on this?
Well, this is, I remember this tweet just as you say it, because with the timeline, it's very, very interesting. This is at Drew Disney Dude. Says this: Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway construction went vertical on September 1st, 2020, and will open on January 27, 2023, completed in just 878 days. Tron Light Cycle Run construction went vertical on May 2nd, 2019, 1,253 days ago, and we still don't have an opening date yet. Yeah, I mean, it's that's quite the thing, right? And I believe the original opening date for Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway before the events of 2020, as we all know, was I think it was 2022. So I mean, we're only a couple, I guess, a month past that in terms of years, but likely probably 8 months in terms of the whole timeline of where they probably wanted Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway to be. Extremely impressive for new structure, everything like that. I don't know, man. That's quite crazy. Couple things real quickly. I think the opening date is quite interesting. I think what people should probably know is they didn't just give you the opening date of Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. They probably also gave you the closing timeline of Splash Mountain. Yeah, you guys want to go? You better go right now, at least before January, probably, because they're probably going to close Splash Mountain around that time. We heard of Indiana Jones refurb. It's only about 3 days, but my thinking was, okay, they're probably going to front load a lot of this stuff before Splash Mountain actually closed, so they can maintain capacity at the park when Splash Mountain is going to be closed for almost like 2 years. So it's going to be really, really interesting how that whole thing kind of works when it comes to Universal. Look, I think there could be some jockeying for position there, for sure, but I don't think that's entirely the story. I think there's a lot of outside forces at work at play as well with this. I think they do want to kick off the 100th anniversary with something. They're going to front load this and go for it. It's interesting, this attraction's opening before Mickey's Toontown. That's actually the opposite of what happened when Mickey's Toontown opened, interestingly enough. The land opened, Chippendales or Gadget's Go Coaster opened, right? A year before Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin opened. And now we're doing it maybe in reverse. It is quite interesting how that is all playing out. I think they could have large swaths of Mickey's Toontown open. Maybe from, I was thinking most likely from the gas station where the restrooms are all the way over to the entrance and exit of Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. If they want to, they could expand out and maybe even do Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin in order to increase the amount of attractions back there for people that are going back there. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. A really, really good assortment of announcements yesterday that we heard.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this is interesting. Very, very interesting. Sometimes Disney throws those curveballs, and that Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway news really was that curveball. That really threw me for a loop. Like I said, I immediately called Dre. I'm like, Dre, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. It's pretty wild stuff. Daddy Josh is making moves. He's making moves. But fascinating news all around. I'm excited. Overall, I'm excited for the Walt Disney 100th anniversary. It's a big milestone. It's a great company with a great history, and I really hope this celebration does its justice. But Dre, it was absolutely phenomenal having you back on, brother, talking shop, talking 100 years, talking Runaway Railway, talking all this good stuff. If you could let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Best place to find me is going to be at Veshka. It's right down there for all the, robust discussion that you can find me on. You got that drop for me, OG?
Oh, yeah, I got it right here.
I just love hearing it.
And there's the biggest bargain of all.
That is the biggest bargain of all. And you could even get a bigger bargain by subscribing to this channel right now to see me at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juice, news, and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove here on OG 55. So you can go ahead and do that there as well. Go ahead, OG.
I'm gonna do a little shameless plug right now. This guy right here, Vash, and our good friend, Family Man 23, did a phenomenal show earlier today on the history of Epcot, the stories behind Epcot. This is a love letter to that park, and they did a phenomenal job on it. It's like a 2-hour plus video, and it's worth every minute. Absolutely phenomenal. So I will link that at the end of this video. Click it, watch it. It is phenomenal. Dre, you guys did a phenomenal job with that. Really a beautiful tribute. And you guys get into the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, though. And it really is a deep dive, and fantastic work. Fantastic work.
It's pretty meaty, a little bit meatier than I originally anticipated, but I think you guys, I mean, anybody who subscribes to the channel, watches us, I always say they're above average. And I think our above average viewers will absolutely love it. So make sure you check it out for sure.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching. Comment down below with all your thoughts on what we talked about today. The Disney's approach to the 100th anniversary, Mickey Minnie Runaway Railway, open on January 27th. Check out that Epcot video right after this show. It is phenomenal. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wondrous, wondrous day.